Picture 20 takes us back to the mainland, to Italy's most famous architectural marvel. The bell tower of Pisa, built in the 12th century, was certainly never intended to lean at such an odd angle, and through the years the angle continues to increase. Engineers today are studying ways to prevent further tilting, but meanwhile the marble tower fascinates countless visitors with its seeming disregard for the law of gravity. And now number 21 gives us a view of the peaceful countryside. Life flows slowly here, where some of the world's finest grapes and olives are grown. This team of heavy white oxen might be descendants of the white bull and heifer that legend tells us Romulus drove as he marked off the original boundaries of Rome. These gently rolling hills and valleys have produced some of the greatest artists the world has ever known. And our next view takes us to a city of Tuscany, which is itself a jewel of Renaissance art. This is the glorious golden city of Florence on the river Arno. An ancient bridge crosses the river, the Ponte Vecchio. See the shops on the bridge? Most of them sell the work of Florentine gold and silversmiths. For centuries, Florentine jewelers, artists, and poets have known worldwide fame. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo, and Dante are some who lived and worked in this illustrious city. Picture 23 shows us a statue of the poet Dante standing outside the white marble church of Santa Croce. And scores of other great men are buried in this symmetrical church, which Byron called the Westminster Abbey of Italy. The architecture is typically Florentine, and it's hard to believe as we gaze at its flawless beauty that it was built in the 13th century. Let's roll the centuries back even further as we move to our next picture. Dressed in the flamboyant costumes of a bygone age, these citizens of the Tuscan city of Siena are marching in a parade which precedes what may be the oldest annual horse race in the world. Siena is divided into districts. For hundreds of years, each district has entered a horse and jockey in a race run around this great medieval square known as the Campo. Now, if you will turn the slide card over to number 25, we will come to the picturesque city of Genoa. This is Italy's busiest seaport. In the vine-covered house at the right, a weaver's wife once bore a son who wanted to become a sailor. He became a rather good one, named Christopher Columbus. This little house has been preserved in memory of Genoa's most famous son, who went out and found not the passage to the Indies he was looking for, but something even more wonderful, a whole new world. In number 26, we find ourselves in a world of glass. This huge crystal-roofed arcade is in Milan, Italy's second largest city. What a wonderful way to shop, strolling down a colorful street, enjoying the warmth of the sun, and yet protected from showers. Visitors never tire of sitting at a sidewalk cafe, sipping the famous Milanese aperitif called Campari, and watching the passing parade. From these sophisticated city dwellers, we move in our next view to a sturdy peasant woman. She is one of the hardy mountain people who live high up in the Tyrol, near the Swiss and Austrian borders. They take pride in their strength and endurance, and as you can see, the mother has already started to train her little girl to bear a load of hay. Behind the farmyard, the Alps rise steeply into the sky. We see them again in picture 28. This time, they set the stage not for work, but for leisure. Sailboats glide like swans on beautiful Lake Garda. How's this for a vacation spot? The air and the water sparkle in a pleasantly warm year-round climate. And for an inspiring view, just lift your eyes to the Alps. But if water is your pleasure, we must pay a visit in number 29 to a city which has canals for streets and boats for traffic. We are in romantic Venice, queen of the Adriatic, floating on more than 100 small islands. In its blue lagoon under a golden sun, it rises out of the water like a miracle. We are looking up the Grand Canal. At our left are handsome palaces dating back to the Renaissance. Friends dropping in for a visit can moor their boats to those candy-striped poles. In the background, we see church domes that look like bubbles of the famed Venetian glass. Let's visit the most famous of them in our next picture. This is the center of Venice, the great square of St. Mark's. People love to stroll through the huge piazza, holding hands, feeding the pigeons, stopping a while at one of the sunny outdoor cafes. The great church is 900 years old. It is adorned with treasures from many lands, bronzes from Rome, pillars from Greek temples, alabaster and gold from the Orient. Some of the more personal treasures of Venice are homegrown, as shown in picture 31. On the nearby island of Murano in the lagoon, the makers of world-renowned Venetian glass still guard their secrets. By blowing and twisting bubbles of molten glass, they form the creations we see here. Sometimes they are vessels of delicate beauty, sometimes dazzling and fantastic shapes. And now for our final scene, let's take a ride in a gondola. Drifting down a canal past a palace known as the House of Gold, we listen to the serenade of our gondolier. All about us are the riches of an ancient civilization. We have seen the glory of ancient Rome, the beauty of the Renaissance, the warmth and vitality of Italy today. No other country leaves the visitor with such a feeling for past splendors in the vivid and living present. No wonder that departing visitors tend to say, not addio, goodbye, but rather arrivederci, until we meet again.